Well, good morning, woodworkers. You remember last week we built this little heart-shaped box. It turned out quite nicely. Anyway, we're going to do an oval shaped box this week, and it'll be about 6 inches on the long axis and about 3.5 or 4 on the narrow axis. I'd like to introduce you to a fellow who is on YouTube, and he calls his site Pocket 83, and I'll leave a link down below this video for you to look it up if you'd like to get back to his channel site and see some of the neat things that he has on there for you to look at. Following the video, I'm going to show you a little bit of something that I added on to what he had to say, and it will show you how to calculate the wall thickness of your oval box and how to get a nice uniform wall around the inside of the oval. So for right now, let's watch his video.
I call this the 1-2-3 oval. It's a real simple way to make an approximation of an ellipse using only a ruler and a compass. Start by drawing 2 circles that touch each other. Next, bisect both circles by drawing a line straight through the midpoints of each. So part 1 in the procedure was using the radius of the first 2 circles we drew. Now we're going to go to step 2, where we change it to the diameter of the first circle. Now go back to your midpoint Now for part 3 in the process. Change your compass setting to this distance.
Okay, remember what he said about his 3-step process? I've kind of rearranged what he said just a tiny bit, and first of all I have laid out a center line, and I've decided I want to make my oval box. The outside diameter will be 6 inches on the long axis. So what we want to do to begin with, as he showed us in the video, we want to divide 6 inches into 2 circles. So we'll do that first, and then we'll go on with the other steps. Well, step 2, now I have laid out 2 circles within the 6-inch length here on the long axis with a compass, and I've tried to darken it up with a Sharpie here so you can see it a little better, but this distance isn't an exact science. The main thing is, though, that the lines overlap here in the middle. Otherwise that's going to come out kind of lopsided. Okay, now you remember the next step was to draw from or set your compass so that you're on the diameter of one of the circles, and they're both supposed to be identical, which they appear to be. Okay, the next thing to do then is to go to the center of the circle like he described, and then mark an arc here top and bottom. go to the other one and do the same thing. Okay, the next step following that is to set your compass light on one side of one of the circles, doesn't matter which one, and then you open this up until you go to the center of the second circle, kind of like that. Okay? Now, my paper's getting away from me. You should be able to go to the X that you marked below, and it should come out so that you can line up with one circle and then draw over to the other circle like this. And as you can see, mine didn't come out quite right, so I goofed up somewhere just a little bit. Then you go to the top one and you do the same thing. Go from where your pencil lines up with the edge of the circle, come around like so, and then line up, and it should come right into the edge of the second circle. Okay, now, except for one little goof that I made, we have a perfect oval. I have decided that I want to make the walls of my oval box 3/8 of an inch thick. So what I did was determine 3/8 of an inch from the outer circle to the inside where I want the inside circle to start. And then the next thing, of course, is to draw a circle with the compass inside using the same center point. Draw the circle here, draw one here as well. Now that you've done that, then we need to go back to the same principle that we used on the outside circle, and we open this up from one outside line of the inside circle. That makes sense? And then we go open this up until we come to the center of the opposing circle, just like we did in the first step. Okay, is that clear as mud? Paper's getting away from me again. Now that we've got this dimension figured out, we go back to our original X points that we made out here, top and bottom, and we center on them, and then we draw in our second wall, our inside wall, from the same X point. Don't follow the step of setting up and making a second X. It won't work. You have to use the same X as you used when you made your outside circle, and you'll come out with a 3/8 inch wall going pretty much equal in thickness all the way around here. Should I go back through that one more time? Well, you can back up on this video and watch it again. But that's the only difference between drawing the outside and the inside, is that you use the same X top and bottom here to draw your oval inside diameter. Alright, as you can see, I have transferred the principle over onto the wood piece and drilled a hole here for my center cut, and now we'll go ahead and cut out the center. Moving right along, I've cut out my centerpiece out of the walls of the oval box, and now my next step is to take the top. Here's the top and here's the bottom. Cut them on the bandsaws. So now I'll put them together, and we'll sandwich all of these together like so, and tape them together like I've described before, and then we go ahead and cut out all three pieces at once. Well, let's see how this thing turned out. I'll get the clamps off here. Well, not too bad, I'd say. I've got to do a little sanding on the outside to match up all the edges and everything, but it looks like it's going to be a doable box. Nice little shallow thing. Put small items in here, cufflinks, earrings, whatever you'd like to put in there. Car keys. Lots of uses for something like this. Right, next we'll work on the lid, and we'll get it lined up so that it'll be usable. And then, like I say, we've got to do a little easing on it, do a little more sanding, and we'll be finished. Okay, here's the lid. What I've done is put a little insert here on the bottom so that we can put it on the box like this, and everything will match up nicely. I'll tell you how I did this to make everything look real nice. I took a couple of pieces of carpet tape, and I put it one piece in the center here, and another piece on the other end. And it kind of overlaps into the middle here, the inside of the oval. Just a little bit, just enough so that when you put the lid on, it's going to be a little bit on the snug order. Like so. And it'll hold it in place while you sand down the edges and get everything all uniform looking. And so when you get a complete box, I've kind of jumped ahead here and done the sanding already, but when you have a complete box, your lid and the bottom piece all match up together and look like they almost one piece of wood. So that's the plan. Do just a little bit more sanding. I've got to ease this over, put a round over on the top, and we'll be done. So now you know how I make a little oval trinket box, and next week we'll dive into something else, and hopefully the camera's aimed right. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Please subscribe, and I enjoy making these. They're a lot of fun. Sometimes a really big challenge, but it all works out in the end. So we'll see you next week.